Welcome, everybody, to the Shipwreck Podcast today. I'm your host, Bobby Ship. Once again, I should say actually Jumbo. Uh, Happy Juneteenth, everybody. If you're watching, I really appreciate y'all coming on today and this festive day that we got today going on. So today we gonna. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world. We had the No Kings protests. We got the Iran-Israel things going on. We got, are we going to get involved? Are we not going to get involved? Things going on. But I wanted to dedicate today to us. I wanted to dedicate today to some education. Education on where we come from and how we are, how do we get here? How do we get to where we are today? So that's where we're going to start off at. Thank y'all all for coming. We got a couple things in store. Like I said, we're going to do talk about just some education things about where Juneteenth even came from, because to be honest, I had no idea about Juneteenth until I moved to Texas. None whatsoever. And I call myself a historian, consider myself a historian. And to move to Texas here at the age of 26 and never have heard of Juneteenth before. And to be honest, at first I was making fun of it. Like, how y'all not know? You heard me. How y'all not know that you were free? You know? But yeah. It was just one of those, one of those things that I just did not know. It was not taught in school, obviously. Just like a lot of the race riots against us were not taught in school. And so I had to learn, and I did. And so I think it's widely known more today about what Juneteenth is and how we got here. But I'm sure there are people out there that are celebrating or happy for the day off and still may not know the true origins of where it comes from. So we're going to just talk about that. And then the second half, we're going to talk about literally where we come from. I'm going to bring up my own personal DNA, and as well as some of our shipmates out there. They sent me their DNA in. If you have taken a DNA test and would like to share it, if you have my phone number, just text it to me and I can get it added to the pod. If you don't have my phone number, let me know in the chat, and then I'll put it in there so you guys can give me a call, text it to me, and we can go from there. But once again, welcome to Juneteenth. As you see, I got my dashiki on. This is exactly what I wore to work today because I needed to celebrate us. And so to begin, like I said, we're going to go with a quick 2-minute video just talking about slavery in and of itself, the transatlantic slave trade, because we are our ancestors. We are from our ancestors who made it through that journey. And so I want to start with them and the journey and how we got here, and then go forward. So with that being said, we're going to play the first video. Like I said, it's only a little over 2 minutes, almost 3 minutes long. And then we're going to go from there. So here we go. Let's talk. Oh, anyway, before I start, if you're watching on Facebook, please go to the link that I posted in Facebook to go to YouTube, because I will be switching all the way over to YouTube. It wasn't ready to switch over today. Just what I wanted to do. So please go over to YouTube so you can like and subscribe as well. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. If you want to join, I put the link into the YouTube chat already to join the conversation. And so let's start watching the video.
Enslaved Africans have been shipped to the Americas since the Spanish arrived in the early 1500s. Europeans purchased slaves along the coast of West and Central Africa. The chained captives were forced onto ships destined to the New World for the long and brutal voyage known as the Middle Passage. Conditions on the ships were indescribably inhumane. The enslaved Africans weren't treated as human beings. They were treated like cargo.
Men and women shackled together, stacked on top of each other. There was a process known as tight packing, where you literally had slave trading scientists who tried to figure out the maximum way to squeeze as many human beings as possible into the holds of these ships.
Incredibly, about 12.5 million Africans were shipped to the New World between 1525 and 1866. About 15% didn't survive the journey.
4 centuries of trafficking in human beings. And over the course of that time, we're talking about millions of souls involved and millions of souls lost. And yet people endured. And yet they survived.
The overwhelming majority went to destinations other than North America. Of the 12.5 million Africans shipped to the New World as slaves, it's estimated about 450,000 landed on our shores. While a law passed by Congress in 1808 banned the transatlantic slave trade, thousands of slaves are estimated to have been smuggled into our country up to the Civil War. By 1860, the enslaved population in the United States had grown to about 4 million people, a staggering number when you consider that the national population at the time was 31 million. The horrors of slavery in the United States would persist until 1865, when, following the end of the Civil War, the 13th Amendment was ratified. But the repercussions of institutional slavery are still being felt to this day, as African Americans continue to fight for equal rights and for the right to be heard.
So again, that was just a quick 3-minute synopsis of how we got here. We have some members already that want to come in to the chat. Some of our shipmates. Welcome, Ronnie. Welcome once again. Happy Juneteenth, my brother. How you doing today?
Happy Juneteenth, folks. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy
Freedom Day
Freedom
for
Day.
all of us at this time. You know, we
Yeah,
was free before that, but everybody wasn't free.
everybody went free. So let me ask you a question, because I was honest with my ignorance. I did not know about anything about Juneteenth till I moved to Texas. Did you know? Did you heard of it? Did you know about it growing up as a kid, or when did you learn about Juneteenth?
Oh yeah, I know because my mom's birthday is today. So
Ah, okay.
so we've been doing this for far as back I can remember, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's always been a big deal for us, man. It just, you know what I mean, we always celebrated us for
Okay.
100%. Oh yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's up. That's what's up. So yeah, so like I said, today is just what does Juneteenth mean for you? And you know, like I said, this is a joyous day. How what does Juneteenth mean for you today?
So Juneteenth means for me is, you know, just a reminder of where we come from and
Mm-hmm.
how we endured to get to this point where we are at 2025. What you said earlier is that we are who our ancestors were or
Mm-hmm.
wanted us to be, which is a dream of theirs. If you think about it, they wanted us to be doing the exact things that we're doing right now and more. So as we continue to matriculate and you know celebrate us more and more, uh,
Yeah.
and learn more about our history, that's I think that's what the stickler point of this day is. Like, don't just you know use it as a day to get off of work and go barbecue. Go learn something about our culture and teach our kids about what our culture is, because if we don't teach our kids, they're gonna lose it.
Absolutely. And that's where I'm at today. That's why I say today is more of an educational day and celebration. And like I said, we got a bunch of things going on in the world, but today not it's not today to talk about it. We can talk about that tomorrow, next week, or whatever. But yeah. So with that being said, I have another video. This one is longer, and it is actually actual slaves. Back in the early 1900s, during the Great Depression, Roosevelt was trying to find ways to give out jobs to people to try to create, you know, get people off unemployment. So he created an initiative where he had people going around the Deep South interviewing actual slaves. So these people are in their 80s, 90s, hundreds even. And so I found them on I found it on YouTube, and I wanted to share with everybody because I've never heard actual our ancestors, you know, that actually was in bondage, and hearing their stories and trials and tribulations. And so I just wanted to play that. And anybody, again, if you want to join the conversation, hit the link in the bio. Please like and subscribe. And if you want to join the conversation, like I said, come on in. If you want to, talk about your DNA as well, that's gonna be the next section. We can go from there. Like I said, we're going to talk about Juneteenth and celebrate us, and then we're gonna watch some basketball, see who wins it all, and see what happens tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's watch the next video, y'all.
January 12th, 1999.
My name is Fountain Hughes. My grandfather belonged to Thomas Jefferson, and now I am 101 years old.
They are voices that break a silence.
We were slaves. We belonged to people. They sell us like they sell horses and cows.
Witnesses to a time we only know from photographs and the written word. But they were there.
We said all that, stood on that picket fence all day long, seeing them soldiers going back to silent zones in different places. Colored soldiers in droves.
Born to slavery.
But we didn't have no property. We didn't have no home.
And now we can hear them speak.
Because you're nothing but a dog. You're not a thing but a dog.
Found voices, the slave's life, told by those who lived it.
They are haunting voices from the past, not actors reading a script or scholars reading a text, but the actual voices of men and women, Americans, who were born in slavery.
My name is Fountain Hughes. I was born in Charlottesville, Virginia. My grandfather belonged to Thomas Jefferson. My grandfather was 115 years old when he died. And now I am 101 years old.
Incredible as it seems, we are listening to the voices of ex-slaves telling of their lives in bondage. Men like Fountain Hughes on the living conditions of slaves in Virginia in the 1860s when he was a teenager.
Other people didn't have no beds when they were slaves. People slept on the floor. Pallet here, pallet there. Just like a lot of wild people. We didn't know nothing. Didn't like to look at no book.
Listen again to Fountain Hughes, who was born in 1848.
We were slaves. We belonged to people. They sell us like they sell horses and cows and hogs and all like that. Have an auction bench, and they put you up on the bench and bid on you, the same as bidding on cattle,
Much of what these three former slaves say may at first seem unremarkable. Much of what they say may surprise and upset, and their calm demeanor is at odds with the evil and violence we associate with slavery. Here is 91-year-old Texan Laura Smalley talking in the 1940s about the outcome of a tussle between two women, one black, one white, one slave, one mistress. The mistress tried to slap the slave, but the black woman pushed her into a chair. Laura Smalley was a girl at the time, but she remembers vividly what happened to the black woman when the master came home.
Well, the thing that old woman told old woman cat in the peach orchard and whipped her. And, just tied her hand this way, around the peach orchard tree. I remember that just as well, looked like to me, I can, and round the tree and whipped her. And well, she couldn't do nothing but just kick her feet, just kick her feet. But it just had her clothes off down to her waist, Just didn't have her plumb naked, but they had her clothes down to her waist. And every now and then they'd whip her, and then snuff the pipe out on her, snuff pipe out on her. The embers in the pipe. Where you ever see the pipe smoking.
Blow them out on her?
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord, have mercy.
Plantation on which Smalley was a slave sounds brutal. She recalls scrambling with other children for food from a huge wooden tray, like a hog trough.
All of them, would get around that tray with spoons and eat, sit like mush or soup or something like that. And all them children get around there and just eat, 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 eat.
Fountain Hughes tells his interviewer about the relentless round of work for him on a Virginia plantation.
The night never comes out. You had nothing to do. Time to cut tobacco. If they want you to cut all night long out in the field, you cut. And if they want you to hang all night long, you hang tobacco. It didn't matter about your tired, being tired, you're afraid to say you're tired.
It was cotton, not tobacco, that solidified slavery, though. The invention of the cotton gin at the end of the 18th century made its processing easy, but the crop still needed enormous amounts of unskilled labor. Control of the slave and his labor through laws and regulations became paramount. Fountain Hughes talks about one of those controls, the pass system.
Now I couldn't go from here across the street, or I couldn't go to nobody's house without I have a note or something from my master. And if I had that pass, that was what we call a pass. If I had that pass, I could go wherever he sent me, and I'd have to be back. You know, whoever he sent me to, they'd give me another pass, and I'd bring that back. So it's to show how long.
And that to me was moving. What did you thought about the video?
So for me, just to hear that moves me a lot, man, because I could just imagine. I can't really just imagine. I can kind of envision where his mind was.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like his mind. That's a man talking. You know what I mean? That man is a man talking, and he talking about himself like he is a product.
Yeah, he was a property.
You know what I mean? How do you? And he know how hard that. You know how hard that would.
Yes.
It's unfathomable. It's
Yeah,
for
no,
me.
you
It's kind of the. You know, it was good that I'm sure it was good for him to be able to talk about it. You know what I mean? Finally be able to talk about it whenever he had an opportunity to talk about it. But you can just imagine how much weight he had on him up until that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When did he have an opportunity to, express how he felt and the things that he went through, and somebody really listened to him?
Yeah.
You feel what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, that still like burns me up, bro. That you know what I mean, that people would even put themselves in that, or put people in that position to treat another human being in such a manner. That, you know what I mean, like
No.
crazy. And then you call yourself a Christian.
Yeah. Yeah. They, and
You know
and
what I mean? Like
he actually used used Jesus as the reason why they were able to do what they could do. You know?
they
They, they,
changed the Bible. It was a completely different Bible.
they did.
You know what I mean? They left out stuff that tells you to, hey, no, you treat others like you're supposed to be treated. They didn't teach you that. They didn't show them that. We had to sneak in and get that information out, or somebody was passing it along, or however it worked out. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what it also tells me though? The resilience of our people.
I
You know
agree.
what I mean? Our people,
Absolutely.
resilience of our people. Like you people can't even understand like the journey that they had. Like how lucky we are to even be here. Does that make sense? You know how resilient? Well, some people should have to be here, but you know how resilient them people had to be. You
Mhm.
imagine for
On that.
people that have their lineage that comes from over in Africa, what they had, their legacy had to endure for those hundreds of years, just for you or one, you know what I mean, to
Yeah.
be here at this very point.
Yep.
Man, stop playing. It should be celebrated every day.
Yep. Yep. And like I said, going through all the videos of trying to research and just find some that, um because I want to inundate everybody with just nothing but videos and stuff. But just learning, I learned a lot. I learned like you said, like in the first video, them talking about that they actually had people who um came to that designed the ships for packing, to pack as many, of Africans as many of us, our people, as possible into these ships. and to learn that, and this is something I knew just from going in the Caribbean and getting down to Brazil. Most of the people didn't come to America. Most of them stayed in the Caribbean and went to Brazil and in South America. So it's more of us down there. Oh wow, that's new. More of us down there than it is up here in America. Welcome to the couch again, Mickey. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. We can't hear you. Can't hear you. I don't know if you said hi.
I did. Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
got you now. Got you now. Got you now. Welcome,
Okay,
welcome, welcome.
perfect.
Um,
Thank you.
did you get a chance?
I've been on. I saw both videos. I've been on
All
since,
right. Well,
yeah.
how did you feel about the video so far?
Um, the first one I knew more about, and I knew that, they were down below with the rats, the rodents, and, feces and things like that. And I knew about that video. Um, the second one was good, and I'm hoping that you drop those links or at least send them
Yes,
to
I
me because I
can.
like to share.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
I
like to
will.
share 'em with my kids.
Yeah.
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 And
That was just a
I
snippet. That
mean,
was only 6 minutes. It's actually 30 minutes long. So I can see
okay,
it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't consider myself a historian, Bobby. I heard you say that.
Mhm.
And that's good, because we need a lot of people like you guys. And we need to learn ourselves too, but I'm happy to have people that can speak some life into it for me too and open my eyes because I just love to learn about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was deep. And I agree with, is it Ronnie?
Ronnie. Yeah, Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Ronnie,
Yeah.
you're right. I agree with Ronnie. It kind of hits you right in the pit of your stomach to hear
Yeah.
a man have to describe and knowing that this is what he and his family went through. That's it's painful to see, and also makes me also proud that we've come so far, that we probably, hope that we've made them proud, you know for having to endure all that they've done, that we're not letting, their hard works go and die in vain.
Yeah.
So
It's so many things that we take for granted. Like just hearing him say, um, coloreds had to sleep on the floor. There was no
hmm
bed for us.
had a pallet.
Had a pallet.
hmm
You had a pallet.
Yep.
We really were just cattle. You know what I mean? Like it's we take so many
Property.
things for granted, and
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's why we have to. You got to want to learn and want to know at least about your ancestry and know where you come from. With that being said,
hmm
I know you grew up in Detroit, but where are your people? I mean, they weren't enslaved in Detroit. So where did your people migrate from? Because the Great Migration in the 40s and 50s, where did
Talk,
they migrate
talking
from?
about me.
Yeah,
So I told you earlier, my people, we were already here, man.
yeah. So yeah,
People,
just go
yeah.
ahead.
So people, a lot of people don't realize that like it's a lot of black folk that were already here, right? But they. So my lineage, I have my lineage is Choctaw, bro. So my grandfather's mom was a Choctaw Indian.
Okay.
My grandfather down here in Mississippi. So all of that stuff is like where a lot of it is like you really have to learn about yourself
Hmm.
because a lot of it they're not gonna tell you the truth about a lot of this stuff, man. It's a lot of things out here that people don't realize, like, and it's not really hidden. It's people don't really understand where to look or how to look or even care to look. You know what I mean? So it depends on it. It takes a person to really go out here and find a lot of this information out, which my uncle did. My uncle Kevin, he does the research on that kind of stuff, and he taught us, taught me some things even today because I was like, what? Um, but a lot of the things like a lot of history. So people don't know like the Indians. They were obviously they were doing their thing because you got people they're gonna link up, right, if you will, right. So what happens is like people don't know like all the five tribes, the main five tribes in India, they are really connected. Even though they have all these different names, he's like, oh, these were the Choctaw. There's up by Miss or down by Louisiana, Mississippi. You got the Seminoles down south. You got other people up by Michigan and all these other places. They were all connected because that's how they lived on the land. They
Hmm.
lived together. They fought, but they lived together,
Hmm.
right? So my family obviously they all over the place, but they all originated from down south because that's where most of the lineages comes from. and they
Mm-hmm.
all migrated north, just like everybody else migrated north. It's the
Yeah.
same exact thing. When they start eradicating them and start pushing them out to the west, where the reservations are. I got another uncle that works on the reservation, right? He's their education guy out there. But the whole thing is like, people don't understand that part of it. It's like you have to really go and look into your your background and ask. Don't just ask where the lineage where you say, hey, I put this, I spit in this thing and it tells me all this. Talk to your elders. They have so much information that unlock that we don't even understand how the amount of information that they have. You have to talk to your elders. You have to document these things, because if not, you're gonna lose it, and you're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
somebody else tell you your story, which history really is. It's somebody else's story. They're
Yeah.
not gonna tell you all the bits and pieces where, oh, it's only been 4 million, blah blah blah. Bullshit. That number was probably 3 times the amount. Right? That's what was documented. What about the things that weren't documented? You know what I mean? What
Mm-hmm.
about all those ships that they lost? And it was just slavery. They lost battalion. They lost hundreds of ships. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? They didn't come out here
Mm-hmm.
one at a
Mm-hmm.
time to it. They came out here in a flotilla. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? There was 40, 50, 100 ships coming from over Africa coming west, right? But they lost. They would lose a lot of them, but they don't talk about a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they were throwing people overboard, and people were sacrificing themselves. Like, I ain't going to be a slave. I'm jumping off. So how do you really account for that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna estimate what it is. Stop playing, man. So you know what I mean? Like, who was the real atrocity right here? You know what I mean? It was that number. Don't get stuck on that number. That number is an estimate.
So let me ask
Obviously, an
you a
Mm-hmm.
question.
estimated number.
So you're saying you are so are you saying you're 100% Native American or Indian, or
Me? No,
you
no, no, no. So
you
my grandfather's side.
oh your
My
grandfather, okay.
grandfather's side is all, they deep. My mom, my grandmother, she was from Baltimore. You know what I mean? They obviously came through
Maryland.
over from Africa too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they all like migrated obviously through whatever operation they or whichever way that they migrated through the south up north. The same exact thing happened from everybody. It wasn't just black people that left the south to go north.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, it was everybody except the freaking Confederate people that wanted to continue to be, uh, plantation owners and own people. There were actually, believe it or not, there were actually black people that wanted to stay in slavery. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That blew my mind when he talked to me about that. I was like,
They didn't know what
what?
they wanted to do.
Who?
They
Because
didn't
that,
see themselves being
right, because
free.
that's all they knew.
They knew.
That right, right.
So for me, and even listening to the guy, to the man today, it's like, man, he was, if you think about it, he spoke pretty eloquently. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, yeah, no, just minor. He spoke, he understood what he was saying and how to articulate that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you think about it, like, how did he get to do that?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, how do you get through all of that to become who we are
Yep.
now? You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't, man, you should wear that dashiki and make a flag out of that jank. You know what I mean? I'm mad. I left mine in my closet. You know what I mean? But we traveling right now. I'm out in
Okay.
Mississippi right now with my
All
wife
right.
and her family.
All right.
But man, dude,
Yeah.
this is a great pod, bro. I'm glad. I'm so happy that you did this, bro. Because this is one of those things that people really need to start discussing. Because if we don't, we're gonna lose it.
Yeah. I
Going
agree.
to lose it,
I agree.
and not only that, it helps us re-energize ourselves and say, hey, these people are legacy. Listen to what they went through. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Listen to what they went through, and now you should know that you can't go out there and be doing stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Don't go out here and add
Have
on
more
to
pride. Have more
yeah,
pride. Want to know. Want to know.
100%.
Want to know. I just want to
Yeah.
say, if anybody, like I said, I will put some links into the notes afterwards after we're done. But if you just not Google, but go on YouTube and just put in slave narratives, it will come up as hundreds and hundreds of hours of just hearing our people talk about slavery. I'm sorry, Mickey. Um, please tell me where you're from, and then we're about to go, and then we're going to go into our last video that we have for today.
Okay. I'm actually from Galveston, Texas, and as I messaged you that, hopefully a lot of people know that.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Juneteenth next. So just say you're from Galveston and just tell me about, I'm about to go into, and then you can just talk about how the video is, how much of it is true, and go from there. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, you said, so just talk about, I'm from Galveston.
Yeah, just from Galveston,
And
and so you never none of your family ever migrated
oh,
or in
so
or
it's funny that Ronnie was saying how, we were already here. There was there's people already here, obviously, because
Mhm.
and I think especially in a bunch of families, we talk about how we are. Well, I got Indian in my family, and so my grandmother, she would say that we have something, and my grandmother, I don't know. My granny, she would say we had a lot, and she was a lot. So I'm like, really, do we have it? And then when we talk about, like, our profiles and stuff, we'll see is like, really, do I really have that Indian in my
Yeah,
family? Really, or did you just make that up, right?
they said the same thing for us as well. I mean, I'm my mom saying, we got Indian
It,
in our
it, a place
family,
a place
and
that you can look at. It's called Dawes Registry, DAWES Registry. So when you go on there, when you talk to your elders and you find out how your tree is, go look at some of those older names in there and type those names. It'll pull up all that if they have actual lineage in it. It'll
Lineage.
pull up. It'll pull up their because they had to do like a. I learned a lot of this today. They had to put in like kind of an application. You imagine that?
oh,
You had to put in the application to put it to find
okay,
out to get my just due as a Native American. Like really?
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's going
Yeah.
it's going there and you
okay.
can research a lot of the things on that part of it too. Just but you need a person's name. Just to
Okay.
get that.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I
Hmm.
want you to give me that, text it to me so I can put it in the notes as well. All right, we're gonna play our last video, and then Mickey, I'm coming back to you because I want to give the floor to you because this is you're where you're from is where Juneteenth come from.
One day, while hiding in the kitchen, Charlotte Brooks overheard a life-changing secret. At the age of 17, she'd been separated from her family and taken to William Nealon's Texas plantation. There, she was made to do housework at the violent whims of her enslavers. On that fateful day, she learned that slavery had recently been abolished, but Nealon conspired to keep this a secret from those he enslaved. Hearing this, Brooks stepped out of her hiding spot, proclaimed her freedom, spread the news throughout the plantation, and ran. That night, she returned for her daughter, Tempe. And before Nealon's spiteful bullets could find them, they were gone for good. For more than 2 centuries, slavery defined what would become the United States. From its past as the 13 British colonies to its growth as an independent country. Slavery fueled its cotton industry and made it a leading economic power. 10 of the first 12 presidents enslaved people. And when U.S. chattel slavery finally ended, it was a long and uneven process. Enslaved people resisted from the beginning by escaping, breaking tools, staging rebellions, and more. During the American Revolution, Vermont and Massachusetts abolished slavery, while several states took steps towards gradual abolition. In 1808, federal law banned the import of enslaved African people, but it allowed the slave trade to continue domestically. Approximately 4 million people were enslaved in the U.S. when Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860. Lincoln opposed slavery, and though he had no plans to outlaw it, his election caused panic in southern states, which began withdrawing from the Union. They vowed to uphold slavery and formed the Confederacy, triggering the start of the American Civil War. A year into the conflict, Lincoln abolished slavery in Washington, D.C., legally freeing more than 3,000 people. And 5 months later, he announced the Emancipation Proclamation. It promised freedom to the 3.5 million people enslaved in Confederate states. But it would only be fulfilled if the rebelling states didn't rejoin the Union by January 1st, 1863. And it bore no mention of the roughly 500,000 people in bondage in the border states of Delaware, Maryland, Kentucky, and Missouri that hadn't seceded. When the Confederacy refused to surrender, Union soldiers began announcing emancipation. But many southern areas remained under Confederate control, making it impossible to actually implement abolition throughout the South. The war raged on for 2 more years, and on January 31st, 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment. It promised to end slavery throughout the U.S., except as punishment for a crime. But to go into effect, 27 states would have to ratify it first. Meanwhile, the Civil War virtually ended with the surrender of Confederate General Robert E. Lee on April 9, 1865. But although slavery was technically illegal in all southern states, it still persisted in the last bastions of the Confederacy. There, enslavers like Kneeling continued to evade abolition until forced. This was also the case when Union General Gordon Granger marched his troops into Galveston, Texas on June 19th and announced that all enslaved people there were officially free and had been for more than 2 years. Still, at this point, people remained legally enslaved in the border states. It wasn't until more than 5 months later, on December 6, 1865, that the 13th Amendment was finally ratified. This formally ended chattel slavery in the U.S. Because official emancipation was a staggered process, people in different places commemorated it on different dates. Those in Galveston, Texas, began celebrating Juneteenth, a combination of June and 19th, on the very first anniversary of General Granger's announcement. Over time, smaller Juneteenth gatherings gave way to large parades, and the tradition eventually became the most widespread of emancipation celebrations. But while chattel slavery had officially ended, racial inequality, oppression, and terror had not. Celebrating emancipation was itself an act of continued resistance, and it wasn't until 2021 that Juneteenth became a federal holiday. Today, Juneteenth holds profound significance as a celebration of the demise of slavery, the righteous pursuit of true freedom for all, and a continued pledge to remember the past and dream the future. People resisted slavery in the U.S. as long as it persisted, uncovered the story of those who escaped slavery, and created a secret society in the Great Dismal Swamp with this video. Or learn about the incredible courage of Harriet Tubman with this video.
All right. Thank y'all for watching. Again, anybody, if you're watching out there and you want to join a pod, please go ahead and click the link and join on in. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, go to YouTube, then like and subscribe. Mickey, what did you thought about the video? And now you can go ahead and talk about Galveston.
I mean, it was a good video. I may have to pause because I can you hear my background, Bobby? Oh, okay,
No,
good.
not really.
So yeah, I thought it was good, and it's what I learned afterwards, because I knew we celebrated it. I didn't necessarily know why we celebrated. We just did. But where I came from, we celebrated Juneteenth just like Ronnie, just from the get-go. All types of celebrations all the time. They talked about it. This is when the slaves were free. It wasn't until later that I learned that not even then, not all slaves were free. And some of the other states had not truly released their slaves. But we celebrated. We had cookouts. We had I was saying we had beauty pageants every year. We had parades. So everything that the video is saying, that's exactly what we did in Galveston County. So, and I didn't realize that everybody didn't know about it either, because when I went
Yeah.
into my first year, after I had joined the military, and then I had met all these friends, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Juneteenth, and this time, we're getting ready to hang out and cook out and everything, and they were like, what is that? What is Juneteenth? And some of them were from the South, like from Alabama. So, and Georgia, actually, both Alabama and Georgia. So they didn't know what it was. And so I was the one that introduced them to what we have today. So that was the first that they've heard about it. So I'm so happy that they made it, nationwide now, like everybody knows about it. So I'm really happy about it.
And like I said, I confessed earlier, I had no idea
Hmm.
what it was until I got here.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so all right, what did you think, Ronnie, before I go into our next, till we start actually seeing where we're from?
So for me, I kind of already like for me, I I kind of already knew a lot of this stuff already. But again, that's not even all
Mhm.
the information that needs to be put out either. Do you guys think that
Yeah.
slavery is over with in the United States?
I think there's, human trafficking and stuff like that's going on,
The prison system
uh
is a slavery thing.
oh, the
So,
prison system,
so the
absolutely.
slavery
Said that in
officially, the
what, second?
word slavery officially disappeared somehow. But I promise you, there are still people that are being slaves, because it's no different from if you get taken your rights away, and they make you
Mm,
work and don't give you the right pay.
yeah, you're
That's
correct.
slavery. So I go
You're
with
right.
if
And
none
next,
if we all ain't free, ain't none of us free. That's how I look at it.
yeah.
So you still live in you still we still live in a society where slavery is still prevalent. It may not be the hanging from the tree and giving you 20 lashes because you mouthed off at the thing. But why isn't it? Instead of them hanging, they just kill you now. You feel what I mean? You still got the slave
Mhm,
master people
mhm,
that's telling you that you are not going to do what the hell you want to do. You're just not. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Instead of them, throwing you in the river and feeding you to crocodile, your babies to crocodiles and all that stuff, they put you in prison and silence
mhm.
you. They don't care about any of that stuff. So don't get anything twisted about that stuff. So you really got to really pay attention to what's going on out here in the real world and do your own research. Do your own research too. Dig into more of the information. Always look into more of the information, because they're only gonna give you a little bit, because you got to remember who still owns the media.
Yeah, it's big
You
business,
understand
big
what I'm trying to
business.
tell you? So keep that in mind.
All right, we got somebody back to a couch, another shipmate of ours. Welcome back, Black. Um, and we're about to go into the fun part of the pod, talking about where we're from and stuff. So first off, thank you for joining, sitting on the couch and joining. And what's on your mind? How did you feel about the videos and the discussion so far? Can you not hear me? Black, can you hear me? Black.
I can hear you fine, bro. I got you.
Black.
I can hear you. Hey, I got one other
Yeah.
I got one other thing for you guys probably learned this today. Did you guys know that Detroit was one of the last stops for the Underground Railroad?
No, I did not know. Well, I kind of figured that, but just because it's
You know
proximity
they
to
don't teach
Canada.
that. It's crazy. Well, we know from Detroit, but people think, oh, they went through
Yeah.
Boston, and not nah. The quickest way to get to Canada is through Detroit. You can literally walk across a bridge.
Hmm.
That's just a little tidbit for you.
Okay. All right. Black, can you hear us now? No, I think you're working on something. All right, so all right, our next segment that I wanted to talk about while we would get Black up and running was our actual DNA, like where we're actually from. And like Mickey alluded to earlier, I know my mom has said to me, we got some Indian in our family and all of this stuff. And so I did my ancestry. I use Ancestry. I know there's a bunch of one out there. I think 23andMe is out there, but I think that one is actually going bankrupt. So but I enjoy Ancestry because it links up to my tree, and I actually got some pretty cool story. Well, some funny stories that comes with that. So for a second, I'm gonna look. This is mine right here. Let me see. Um, these are the countries that I'm from. I am 20% Nigerian, 19% from Mali. So Nigeria is there. There go Mali. So as you see, West African. Benin and Togo. Western Bantu peoples is right there. Cameroon, the Senegal, uh, the Ivory Coast and Ghana, which I did get a chance to visit a few years ago, about 5 years ago now, 6 years ago now. And it was an outstanding time in Ghana. I will honestly say I did not want to go. My wife dragged me there, and I really felt like I was home. I can tell this is where my people's from, and I'm only 5% Ghana Ghanese. I think it's Ghanese. Is that the way you pronounce it? If I'm pronouncing it wrong, please let me know. Your Blind. Anybody know how to pronounce that? Any of y'all know how to pronounce that one?
I never heard of that one before.
Frank.
Wait, hold on. I can't
That is
see it. Hold on.
one.
That, yeah, it's not far from Ghana, so it's in the same area as
Okay.
Ghana, and it's all
Oh,
Western
it's
Bantu. It's all
Yoruba.
in the same.
Yoruba land.
Yoruba. Okay.
Yoruba,
Yeah.
Yoruba land. Okay, Yoruba land. And then we get a little whitey. I am French. Then we got some more 2% of Central West Africa. I guess it's just all in that same area. I am Wales, from Wales, English. This was the wild one for me because I am 1% Filipino. I don't know where that come from, but we got to figure that one out. So I am 1% Filipino, and I don't even know how that could have happened, to be honest with you. 1% Swedish, a Norwegian, Southern Italy from Italian. I have some German and Irish. So that is mine, my personal one. I was definitely surprised by the Filipino one, and I was surprised that I wasn't Native American at all. That one actually threw me, not being Native American. So yeah, that one definitely threw me. Uh yeah, that was a surprise for me. Mickey, are you up? You ready to talk about
Sure.
yours?
Yeah. Go for it.
Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Okay. Let's bring it
I'm gonna
up.
try to turn my phone to the side, Bobby. So hopefully it's
Okay.
not weird when I do it. Did it? Okay. It correct.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, correct it. Yep. Oh, she just took herself off. We'll give her a second to come back. Uh so you have been to Africa, haven't you, Ronnie? While we wait for
Oh
Mickey to
yeah.
come back. You
Yeah,
have
Am
yeah.
been
I
I've
to
been to
there?
Africa.
Can you
Yep.
guys hear me?
yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you talk through it, Bobby? Because I can't bring it up on my screen like
Yeah,
where I can see it
yeah,
well.
I can bring it up. Yeah, we can see it. Okay. So I was asking Ronnie, we'll go to you, Mickey, first, and then we'll come back to you, Ronnie, and talk about your time in Africa and how, if you enjoyed it, and just go from there. All right, so Mickey, this is the one I see. I see that you are 22% Nigerian, 17% from Mali, 15% from Benin and Tobago, 9% Cameroon. You're Western Bantu people as well. I think I was Southern. I believe. I don't know. Let me see what else. And then you have 8% Scottish, 5% from the Ivory Coast, 5% English and Western, Northwestern Europe, 4% from the Senegal, 3% from Central West Africa. I have that one as well, and 1%. I have never seen this one before. It is, I can't even pronounce it. Let me see. Can't see it as well. Let me see on this one. Kajin, aka and my two peoples. I never even heard of that one.
Mm.
1% Cornwall. I don't know where that is. Anybody? I don't know where 1% Cornwall is, and 1% from
Yeah.
Wales. So, like we were talking, earlier, like you were saying, like we our parents tell us, our grandparents and stuff say, yeah, you got some Indian in us, and apparently we don't have any. You don't have
I'm
any
like,
Native
what is
American in
this?
you.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how did this surprise you?
I was honestly surprised that when I think when you first do them, I think I did this like maybe 2 years ago.
I believe
And
so.
Mhm.
and as time
Yeah, you're good now. I can
as
hear
time goes on, I feel like it corrects, because like that last one that you
you. Mhm.
couldn't pronounce or the one you had never heard
Yeah.
of, I never heard of that one either. And so just, looking that up today is new. I have no idea where it is. But what I was surprised about was that there wasn't any Native American in there. And I was surprised that
Go ahead.
I was like 15%. When I first did it, it was like I was a quarter of European. And I was like, wait a minute, what
Mhm.
happened? And it was kind of split down the middle between like Nigerian and Ghanan. I thought it's Ghanaian,
Guyana. Guyana.
Ghanaian.
Guyana,
Ga
and
Guyana. Okay.
Cameroon. And that was the first I had ever heard of Cameroon. I was like, what is this? And so coincidentally, some of the people that I started seeing, for beauty things were from Cameroon. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I had never even met anybody from there. So I kind of took to them because at that point it was saying that I was like 25%. And then the others were split
Mm.
between Nigeria and Ghana. So I was surprised. And then the rest was, like I said, European. So as time has gone on, I feel like it's kind of, you know, been more refined. And now I think I'm down to like 15% European. I'm just, I'm a little bit surprised about some of that. But other than that, I mean, yeah,
Really?
it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. So what surprises you about the 15%
Because I'm in
European?
denial. I just didn't want it to be, even though I'm like brown skin and like my dad is like high red, and I'm like, yeah, no, but I mean, it just is what it is. I
Yeah.
know it's affecting all of our lives, most
Mm-hmm.
most of us anyway, but um, it was
Yeah.
just, I think for me, I may know something, but I'm still going to be shocked. That's just my personality. I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't know that was coming down the road already. But it's
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. I'm just excited about being able to connect, So, and then kind of
Yeah.
really realize where my roots come from. So where my roots were.
Yeah. Do you plan on, or would you like to go to
Mm-hmm.
Africa one day and visit those countries?
100%. Yeah, definitely. Me and James have been talking about it a lot lately. Um, we're looking. We're looking because I'm also look in my mind, me, Bobby. I'm like, I'm always ready to go and do something. I'm like, we're moving up out of here. So we're trying to scope out our land. So um,
Okay.
but yeah, no, I definitely want to go. I don't know exactly where. Of course, we want to talk to you and Candace about that, kind of get some insight
Mm-hmm.
and then do some more research and go and visit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Black. Before I get to you, I'm gonna come back to Ronnie, just because I know you've been to Africa. How was your trip to Africa, and how are you received being an African American slash Native American,
Well,
and or was it all just work related?
so I was there. Yeah, I was there for a year in Djibouti, Africa. But then I went. I saw some. I saw Kenya. I saw. I was more on the eastern or the eastern side of Africa. It's not for me. It hurt my heart to go over there and um see us doing us like that. You know what I mean? Like some of those places over
Mhm.
there are beyond third world. I would say it's a 10th world or whatever you want to call it. The higher the number, the worse it is, because it is
Mhm.
terrible in some of those places. However, Kenya, uh, I think Kenya probably got the most beautiful people on the planet. And I'm not
Mm.
even, that's not even an exaggeration. I'm talking flawless, beautiful people. Like everybody's over there beautiful. You know what I mean? The landscape's beautiful. The how it's how it looks like an American place because they have the same kind of stuff we have over there. Obviously they speak different languages and stuff like they have different, things that they do that we don't do because their religion's a lot different. But Africa is and I went to Seychelles. So
Okay. I would say Seychelles because that is definitely on my list. I would
listen,
love to
that
go
should
to
be
the
on your
Seychelles.
first. That
Those
should be
two
your
numbers,
next. That should
Seychelles.
be your next place to go. Seychelles is off the chain, but it's
Yeah, Seychelles is down south. I'm just letting people know where Seychelles is. It's down south, southeastern part of south of Africa, close to South Africa, on the eastern coast of South Africa.
so.
Go ahead.
But the place is like so. You ever like for me? Like I've been like when I go to place, I'm similar like you, Bobby. When you go to like when you go somewhere, you like, damn, I just feel it's like it's like you know what I'm saying to me.
Mhm.
So, but don't get it just Africa and all these other stuff. If you gotta think about it, we all come from the same dirt. You're gonna have a piece of pretty much everything in it, right? But what I don't understand about those things is like a lot of the slaves didn't come to a lot of them went through the Caribbean, right? They went over to South
Mhm.
America and those places.
Yeah.
Where is that in your lineage? Because I guarantee you have some parts of that in there too. Right? They don't talk about those type of things.
Well,
No. Just hear me out. So that's the kind of stuff you gotta be how can I say it? You got to just be open to understand. Like, don't take it as a this is 100% correct. It's because you got to do you have to do. They're gonna throw some stuff out there like, oh, you got 1%. How do you figure out it's 1%? You know what I'm saying? How do you figure out it's this amount or whatever, right? But you got to think about like your past and all the people that came through and all that. I call it the soup of people because we all a piece. All of us are just a soup of
Mhm.
genetics, really. You know what I'm saying? So be
Mhm.
careful when you go through those things and doing your lineage and thinking like, oh, this is the
Mhm.
absolute truth. Because what we learned in the military is what the first thing I always tell you is trust but verify, right? Trust but
Mhm.
verify
Mhm.
some of those things because if not, people are just gonna go by that answer, and that's just gonna be what the answer, and they're gonna just stop when they shouldn't. That's what they want you to do in those cases. They want you to just stop. Oh, this is what it is. You want that? No, 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 no. I want to go. I want to go look further into this, like further into that. Why
Mhm.
is it that this is only 1% and this one's 40%? Like, you know what I mean? Look into
Can
that
I
part of it. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
can
Go
I say
ahead.
something,
Go ahead.
Ronnie? I
Yes,
agree
ma'am.
with you, but what I also think is this is a start. I don't take it as, this is bond by any means. Because like I said, when I first started out a couple of years ago, it was like a quarter, and a quarter and a quarter. You know what I'm saying? So, but now it's like the more I think that people submit, the more people that are active and submit their results, which a lot of people don't want to, then I think we'll find out more too. That's what I think. So I don't take it like you said. It's not my Bible. It is just a little start. Kind of give me a little bit of oh, okay. But you're right. Like you're right. A lot of people came through. So now I'm looking like, okay, where are the rest of these? Where's the rest of these people? But I gotta know personally that my husband, I bought him a test for Father's Day last year. He still won't take it. So there's a lot of people that won't. So there'll be
I
some of
got
those things that we're gonna
Yeah.
have to manually check out. So
I got another question for you. This is something that you
uh-huh,
want to, so you understand where I'm coming from, why I say it as
uh-huh,
what I say it,
uh-huh.
right?
Sure.
How much percentage is it saying that you're an American? You understand what I mean? Your last
Mm-hmm.
400 plus years supposedly been here, right? Where is that percentage at in your thing when it should be? You understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you use it as a starting block, and everybody should because it
Mm-hmm.
is. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing because I'm not saying that. Don't get me twisted.
Yeah.
It is a very good start
Mhm.
to where you can start honing your vision at like, hey, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
This is a good thing for me to go look into it. Hey, what look at the history of what those places are.
Yeah.
See how they evolved from what they were back then to where you are now because it'll help you really understand where our legacies are because honestly we all of us are connected. You guys ever heard that 6 degrees of separation?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is a
Separate.
Yeah.
fact. That's
Yeah.
a one hundred
And
percent fact, right? So don't think about it in that form of it. Everybody, because
Mm-hmm.
I think of it as, hey, this is a way for you to split people up. You know what I mean? For me, this is how I look
no, I
at it.
don't think that.
No, no, no. This
I don't
this
look
this
at
is
it.
this my point on it. It's like, hey, no, this is your place. You can only look here. No, 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 no. It's
Mm-hmm.
don't look at it
Yeah.
that. Don't get stopped there. Keep going and bring your kids in because if you start, I don't know how old you are, but if you starting the age that you are and you bring your kids in, they're gonna be by the time they get to your age, they're gonna have that whole thing mapped out perfectly. So
That's a
don't
good.
just
That's good. Yeah.
don't just have
Mhm.
us do it. We gotta bring them in because they're the ones
That's
that's gonna
true.
really lose this information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like you said, go ahead. Go ahead,
No, no.
Nikki.
I was just gonna say the extra test that I have. You're right. I might I might check with one of my two. Like,
Yeah.
okay, which one of y'all want to take this test, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. We had I had one of my sons did it already. My other one hasn't done it yet. And biological. And his family told him from his mother on down, even his grandmother, that they're Italian, they came from Italy, this, that, and the other. I have more Italian than they do. And, that's the guy's honest truth. They're English,
Yeah.
but they said that they were Italian. They thought they were Italian, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't. So like, that folklore goes everywhere. So it is a good clues, and it can help you find other family members that even though they're distant, that can help you clue in
Mm-hmm.
to where your family comes from because you know like the our ancestor said in the video, um we were sleeping on the floor, so clearly, our tracking of us and who we are and where we come from isn't as good as others that's been here as
Correct.
long. With that being said, Black, welcome back to the couch. A shipmate. And how you feel about what we've seen so far? And then we're gonna go into your where
Can
you're
you hear me?
from.
About
Yeah, we
damn
got you now.
time. I got in. I apologize for all this stuff early. Then we had the next door neighbor come over and she was wanted to talk about some stuff on the outside. So I'm here.
Okay.
The first videos, I'm glad you shared that kind of stuff. I know it makes a lot of people angry a lot of times, but those are the good videos because what we don't
Mhm.
think about is getting packed in like sardines and not being fed, having to
Mhm.
defecate right there because it ain't like they unchain us and we go outside and defecate, in a nice area. And all of that diseases and stuff or filth created diseases and they just throwed us overboard and things like that. So it's a lot of things that history won't show or his story won't show. But those videos, it's just, kind of eye opening to allow people to see what our people went through just to get here. And
Absolutely.
I cherish those kinds of videos. It in a way it makes me proud because this is what we came from to what we are.
Mhm.
And it just
Mhm.
gives us a measuring tool on how far we have come and how we were treated. And that's why I cherish where we are today. It's absolutely amazing that
Mhm.
we are still here because to my knowledge on this earth we are being the most persecuted people ever, and it doesn't
Yeah.
stop. It hasn't stopped, and it's continuing. So
Mm.
we have to fight for every little inch that we get. So good videos, good topics. We can go on and on trying to dig out our history. And I know you're gonna share my DNA profile shortly, but I pretty much did it to find family members. I grew up in Mississippi in the South, and shit, everybody was sleeping with everybody. And it was just shit. This your dad over here. This and all this. He got children over here, and your
Mhm.
grandmama had this child, and no, that ain't really your grandmama child, and that ain't really.
Mhm.
It was crazy. So I'm like, did the ancestry just to get an idea and see if I can find some cousins, or shit. I won't say brothers, or brothers or sisters or siblings because my mom was pretty. She had four and that was it. But my dad. I don't know how many that joke had. So just
Hey,
trying to
Yeah.
find people.
what part of Mississippi you? What part of Mississippi?
Jackson, I grew up in Jackson.
Oh wow. Okay.
And a lot of our people went north, and a lot of my
Hmm.
people is in Chicago. They stopped in Chicago instead of
Yep.
continuing on up to Detroit. So we got people up north when the Great Flight started. So I got my granddad actually moved up to Chicago during that time. Um, so I have a whole new another set of siblings, not siblings, but family members up in the Chicago
Mhm.
area.
Hmm. So
Mhm.
that's funny that you say that,
Uh,
right? Because that's a lot. A lot of us did the exact same migration, the
Yep,
exact same thing.
yep,
Mississippi, Chicago, Detroit, Indiana, all those kind of places. Like we all matriculate. We all kind of went the
yeah.
safe route to get to this
yep,
to
yep.
the promised land, which is kind of strange. That's why I'm trying to tell you. I think, man, you are connected to a lot more people than you think you are. So
And
that is a great part. You're right, sir. Yep.
that was the reason why I wanted to do the DNA ancestry. Do I believe it 100%? No, I don't. I think it gives me a starting point of where my DNA originated from, and I say use quotations because again, it is people saying that this information is where my DNA came from. And I wanted to do another one just to compare it. I was going to pick out another
I like it. You mean?
and just
Yeah.
do it just to compare it because I truly want to
Mhm.
know. And when you pull it up, we will go over it. I was surprised.
Mhm.
Like I think it's Makiba said, expected to see some
Wow.
Indian in me because I know without a doubt, and I know for a fact my great great grandmother was full blooded Indian. They say when she died, Indians came and did the whole ceremony in the front yard and did everything that Indian death requires. So I know for sure On my mother's side, we had Indian, but it did not show up in my DNA at all. So
Yeah,
that really, really shocked me.
yeah. Like I said, and I didn't see any in ours at all either. Um, I will say that the stuff is accurate. I mean, I'm happy we have Dawn on a pod now. That this happens to be my cousin. Her father and my grandmother, who just passed this year at almost 101 years old, were brother and
Wow.
Yeah.
sister. And um, so I'm happy to have her on there because one of their siblings, uh, I did the ancestry, and a few months after I did it, and it's funny because one of my cousins here, Lisa Morton, just said, "Hey,
Hey.
cousin," uh, her brother, her brother hit me up on ancestry and said, "Hey, I don't know how we're related, but we're related." And he's from Camden. It's our uncle from Camden. I can't remember his name. Don, you can tell me because he passed away.
Oh, from
Um, from Camden.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he just recently
Um,
passed not too long ago.
no, he passed in the '80s. He passed in
But
the
his
'80s.
family's still up there though.
His family's
Yeah,
still in
yeah.
Camden, yeah. And so they didn't know who their father was.
Wow.
And so he hit me up, and then so I put him in touch with Ruthie, your
Hmm.
sister, and my dad, and everything like that. And next thing they're meeting up with Ruthie and the family and everything like that. And so if it wasn't for us doing the DNA test, him doing the DNA test, he would have never found that side of the family.
Wow.
Um, and then here's another one that I don't think you know about. Was Unc was out there making some things happen. That's all I'm gonna say. He was out there making some things happen. Cause I had a younger one of our cousins that lived down in Delaware, and this was about 3 or 4 years ago as
Hmm.
well. And she hit me up saying, "Hey, I don't know how we're related, but we're related. It's on my mom's side, but I know my mom's dad and everything, but."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, where you from?" And she was like, "Well, my mom and stuff lived in Camden." I said, "Oh."
Uh,
And I said, "Are these people on your ancestry as well?" And she was like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you might want to sit down." I said, so come to find out
hmm.
her mom father wasn't her father. It was Uncle Plussy, your dad, and my grandmom's brother was her real dad.
What?
And another man completely raised her.
So who was
Completely
the
raised her.
uncle? Was it Uncle Luke?
Uncle Luke. It was Uncle Luke
Yeah,
in
Uncle
Camden because
Luke
he lived by the
was
Campbell
so
Soup. He worked at
fine.
Campbell Soup. He
Oh
oh
my
oh
God, he
okay.
was like 6'6". He was like 6'4". He had kids everywhere, I believe. No,
Yeah,
but his son
yeah,
Stony, Stony, he passed away not too
yeah,
long ago.
yeah,
But
yeah. He passed away
Uncle
not too long
Luke,
ago. Yeah,
and
so
he
he
was
just
so quiet,
yeah,
dark
yeah.
skinned,
Uncle Luke.
tall,
Yeah,
handsome.
yeah,
So he was making some things
yep,
happen too.
Yeah, back in
yeah.
the day,
So
they
he
were
was
landing.
these are his kids we're talking
Facts.
about. These are his kids we're talking
Yeah,
about. And so this is the part
I
that
know my
really
dad
took
had
me
extra
out
kids. We don't talk about that right now, but
Me and Black might be cousins.
uh, 'cause me.
Hey, for real, for real.
Hey, we could be.
Or siblings,
Could be.
I don't know
no,
because
they
my
was
daddy was
out
something
there
else too.
doing it.
So yeah, yes, they were. They were. I'm
Mhm.
And
sorry.
then
Go ahead, Bobby.
my dad, my aunt, Irene, God bless the dead, lived to see. How old was your grandma, Bobby?
going on 101, 1 month away from
Yeah.
101.
So that's my dad's sister. I'm the youngest out of 12.
Wow.
So we up there, me and Bobby close to age. I'm a little
Mhm,
older than him.
mhm.
But I did my research. I ain't do the test yet because I'm funny. Like they're gonna take my DNA and then they're gonna do stuff with it. You know how that feels. But I'm so want to do the test because I was deep diving on my dad's side, and on my dad's side, you can go all the way back. I found
Mhm.
my great grandparents, my dad grandparents, just looking through the old files, and they standing next to their house. They shack
Wow.
Oh, wow.
way back in the day before my dad was born.
Mhm.
Man, look like Aunt Gus and all of their kids and stuff. I don't know where my stuff
Mhm.
came in to make me light skinned, but I gotta check this DNA thing out.
Yeah,
So in
you
our
got to.
families are
You got
different colors and different, you know. But
Mhm.
yeah, so down Bruford, South
Yeah.
Carolina, my dad
Yeah.
was raised down there. My sister was born, my brother was born down there, the older ones. But they had so much deep. They was one of the first when they was slaves, because the first boat came to South Carolina. A lot of the boats from Virginia, then they start
Hmm.
migrating to South Carolina. And on the island we found, what's the island, Bobby?
St. Helena?
Yes, Saint Helena. And they ran they they masters and slaves on the away, and they abort that island. So we wasn't slaves for a long time on my dad's side, because they ran like these dudes is crazy. So I want to know that part of Africa that they wasn't playing no games with.
So speaking of that, one of our ancestors, and I don't know if you heard of him, black or not, but
Yeah,
Robert
that was
Smalls.
our
Have you heard of the?
ancestor. Yep.
Yes, he's in our family.
Wow.
We are a part of the Smalls
Yep.
family. Yeah, we are part of the Smalls family. So Robert Smalls, I don't know if you know Ronnie or not, but he hijacked a
Yep.
Confederate
Yep.
ship, got his family, and then took
Yep.
him to safe. Well, took him to the. That's our
That's dope.
family. No
Yep. That's our
bullshit.
family.
That is our
And it's a
family.
small
That's our
names.
family.
That's my grandmother name was
Yeah,
small. She
Smalls.
married a few times. She
Yeah.
had it. Did she marry a caper? So yep.
Hmm.
That was our, we have so much history down there. And one thing about down there, so my mom history cut off because her mother died when she was 9 months. So she ain't know her mother, but she knew her dad until, when she was in her teenager. So he died. And they was so quiet. My mother is from Johns Island, Charleston, South Carolina. And they keep secrets, sonny. So digging into them was like, oh, I said, I want to do this book. But digging into them is nobody talk. You try to get them before they died. Nobody can talk. But my mom told me so much. But my dad people, proud. They go all the way back.
Yeah.
So they got off their
Yeah.
ship. So
Yeah. All right, Vic. I want to talk about yours now. You ready?
Who? Oh,
Yours. I'm talking about your DNA. So this is yours right here. You are 33% Cameroon, Congo, and the Western Bantu peoples. 28% Nigerian.
28 I am.
Uh, yeah, 28% Nigerian. Uh, 13% Mali. Uh, 7% Ivory Coast and Ghanese. From 5% Wales, 4% from Benin, Togo. 3% Senegal, 3% Scotland, 2% Norway, 1% Southeast Asian, and 1% Southern Philippines. So that's what made me say when you sent this to me. What made me say whoa is because I'm Filipino, you're Filipino.
Because
How?
hey,
Because
the energy found each other in the Navy.
so that's what got me was the Filipino part was like wow, so what surprised you about your own personal
Wales.
DNA?
Uh and I
Wells.
Mm.
yeah, and I think all the rest of it, once I find out who my dad's dad is, because I never met him. But once I saw a picture of him, I'm like, oh yeah, that's where all that DNA came from. I think from my dad's side,
Mm.
the Filipino,
Okay.
and probably even the Wales and the Asian, all that came from him. But the rest of
Great.
it really didn't surprise me too much. Um, because going out, if I'm around true African people, they ask me, shit, where am I from in Africa? And I'd be like, shit, I'm from Mississippi, bro.
Mhm.
And they,
Mhm.
especially when I pronounce my name, like, because sometimes I have to say Black Moan, so everybody know it's not,
Black
yeah, so
Moan,
it's
yeah.
not Black Man. And so when I
Yeah.
say that, everybody just like look around like, oh shit, where he from? So I
Mhm.
get that. I get that a lot from Africans, and they tell me, I look like I'm from there, and I'll be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But if I can go back
You
a little bit, because I couldn't get on when you was talking about the whole Juneteenth thing. Being from Mississippi,
mhm.
I'd never heard of it until I joined the military, and I was on the boat, and somebody asked me about, you not celebrating Juneteenth. I'm like, what the hell is Juneteenth? And
Yeah.
they was from Texas, and being from Texas, once I went and did some more research and stuff, and I found out what it was about. I'm like, wow. And as far as us celebrating it, I think that's our only true Independence Day as Black people, because 1775, when we became a nation, we wasn't free, and every other
Mhm.
nation or nationality in this country have their own Independence Day except Black people. And I truly think that Juneteenth is our Independence Day that we should celebrate it.
Yeah.
And when I first heard about it, I was kind of like, oh, that's a Texas thing. Only Texas people, the rest of the world was getting their ass kicked. And by the time Texas found out about it, hell, they can celebrate. But everybody east of the
I made
Mississippi
fun of
was suffering and
mhm.
shit and being killed and led into concentration camps and being starved to death because the white people
Mhm.
or the slave owners didn't want us to be free. So they killed us off in masses of people, especially in Mississippi. So
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I wasn't too on board with it back in the 90s when I first found out about it, but as you understand a little bit more, it's like that's our true Independence Day, and we should embrace
I
it
agree.
and celebrate it.
I absolutely agree. Like I said, when I first found out about it, I was making fun of people like, "You ignorant
Yes.
ass people don't know nothing about when you was free."
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. That's how I came in
Oh
like
my
like I was an
gosh.
uppity
Oh
nigga. I
my
was uppity,
gosh.
You was the house Negro,
So hateful.
but now, yeah, but now I understand the meaning
Yeah.
of it, and I try to celebrate and appreciate it for what it
Yeah.
is.
Mm.
Uh, before we go on, I want to have, if your wife is there, she want to talk about
Yeah, you want
hers.
to talk? She said she don't want to talk about it. You want to share it?
Okay.
She said you can share it though.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's up now. Here we go. Uh, all right. So this is Black's wife, Mika's. She is 26% Cameroon. So y'all have that in common.
Hey,
They're both Cameroon
hey,
and
we
Nigerian.
we we looked at it like shit. We might be cousins.
Y'all might be cousins. Well, it would have showed somewhere down there, y'all, because y'all ancestry. So it would have showed if y'all was related. They
Yeah.
said, distant, distant, distant. So, but yeah, so you got Nigerian, you got Benyan and Togo. She is definitely more European, 13% European from English. Uh, she has 10% Mali, 10% from Ivory Coast and Ghana, 6% from Senegal, 2% from Norway, and she's Southern Bantu
Hmm.
peoples, and 1% from
Yep.
Wales.
So
Um, just ask her real quick, did anything surprise her from hers?
she said not really.
Not really. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that is it. Before we go any further, this was just sent to me. I gotta create a new one. Give me 1 second to bring it up because in his fashion, your man's and them had something to say about today in our holiday.
OMG.
Uh, yeah. So here we
Oh
go.
boy.
Your president chimed in today, talking about our holiday. It's a little bit hard for me to read personally, so I'm gonna just go ahead and read it from here. This is what he said: too many non-working holidays in America. It is costing our country billions
But
of
a
dollars
fucking
to keep
parade
all
not.
of these billions of dollars to keep all of these businesses closed. The workers don't want it either. Soon we'll end up having a holiday for every once working day of the year.
Oh my
It
God.
must change. We are going to make America great again. And
Oh, that's sick.
I'm gonna,
Oh my God.
who wanna go
You already know
first?
I'm taking that. Listen,
Ronnie, you long winded. So
I
you
go
you
last.
I'm
How you want to do it? Hey, you run it. You run it, Bobby.
all
You
right.
run it.
All right. So
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm gonna start by saying this. I'm gonna start by saying this. Because every time I feel like I get on this pod, I think about education and where we are as a people, and like we all talked about this, and I can't help but to think about my nephew, um, who don't want to learn about his past and who thinks racism doesn't exist and constantly comes up with excuses for it. And I just would like to talk to him and get him to understand, get our people, get our young folks who don't vote, because he's one problem, but we got our people who don't vote. He's in office because we had so many people who didn't vote. Talk to our other young brother that comes on a pod as well and say, this is what you voted for. This is what you said you want to see. You know, is blatant. Is his racism is blatant. You know, at first it used to be a dog whistle. It stopped being a dog whistle years ago, years and years and years ago. And for our people, for him to get more black men and more black women, even though it was less black women, to vote for him is a travesty. It's a problem. It's a problem. I don't know. I'm still gathering my thoughts. Black, I see you. Black, if you're ready to talk, and then the ladies ready to talk. If not, I'm giving it to Ronnie. Go.
Ryan, you can go. It's hard for me to even talk about stuff like that because it's like you said, it's blatant, and for us to continue to sit here and have to defend this crap or tell people what is right in front of our face is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
I mean, from the Confederate, from getting rid of Harriet Tubman, Medgar Evers on naval ships, but you're going to bring back Robert E. Lee, a fucking traitor.
Yes.
You're going to bring back Robert E. Lee. You're going to bring back Hood. You're going to bring back Bragg. All traitors. All traitors.
How much? I mean, so who's going to be surprised when he takes it away? I was honestly surprised that it was still a federal holiday. You know,
it takes an act of Congress. It takes an act
I
of
bet
Congress to take it away. He can't arbitrarily
I
take it
can.
away.
I'm pretty sure he's working on that right now.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
Wow, I don't have anything to say. I'm one of them things. I was like, it's just wow. Like really. So
So
that's
he,
wild.
that's crazy. He just tweeted that.
Yes, yes. It was sent to me by one of our shipmates, my brother Ronald. Sent it to me, and I said I got to put this on. So, um, yeah, that's Ronnie. Go ahead, man.
Listen, I say this almost every. Who gives a flying fuck what that dude say? We're gonna celebrate anyway. We've been celebrating us even when we were getting hung and beat. Don't get that guy twisted on from a guy that goes and spends what is it, $6 million a weekend to go golf or whatever it is. Come on, that and people are gonna take it. He can't take it away because Congress, like you said, Congress, they're not gonna vote that down because could you imagine them doing? They're not gonna do that, right? All he doing is stoking the fires for people to get base. Any negative press is just as good as good press. That guy don't care which one it is, and that's just what he does. He's just throwing flames on stuff to make you look over here and not really pay attention. Oh, listen, I'm with you. Hold on. So over there, right? Is it ignorant? Yes. Does he say ignorant stuff? Yes. Does he do ignorant stuff that surprise me anymore? No, because
It's not ignorant. It's bigoted
no
and
no. What I mean
racist.
by that? Yeah. Wrong words. Bigoted and racist. Am I shocked that he's doing this? No. He's been doing this from the 80s, man. He's a snake. If
I
he's a
agree.
snake, the snake's going to freaking bite you. You get too close. He's a snake. Just watch it. You know what I mean? He ain't changing his stripes. He's gonna be that forever because and you got to think like, and you can't. For me, for a person again, I don't blame him. What I blame is the people that support him. That's where the focus should be at, right? That should
Yeah,
actually
I
that
agree.
should be the where we should be like, you know what? That's why we stopped going to Target. Target, you want to support this clown? We ain't spending our bread.
Hmm.
Oh, Uber, you want to support this clown too? We ain't spending our
Yeah,
bread. And it's just gonna go.
yeah.
That's the only way they listen to stuff. I don't care what he can say whatever he wants to say. Do whatever you want, and
Mhm.
you can be the most racist dude on the planet, which we all kind of know is a truth, right? In the sense of what he doing, he's just
Mhm.
racist for money. He don't really. That dude is just racist for money.
No, I think
So
it's I think it's in his being as
yeah,
well. I don't think
he's a
it's not just money. I mean, it's that's a byproduct
yeah.
of it. He is racist. He's a bigot. He's a racist.
Look
Period.
at his
I
He is.
legacy. His grandfather was a freaking racist. His dad was a Klan member.
Yeah,
What does that tell you?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like this isn't.
yeah,
This is how. This is in that man's. This is in his 23 and Me or whatever whatever. You know. But you understand? If
Right.
they pulled up his DNA thing, it's gonna say 100% racist. You know what I mean? There ain't
yeah.
gonna be no. It ain't gonna be a split around the world. It's gonna be 100% racist. You feel what I mean? It might be
Right.
I
99%. He might
I
not. When he's sleeping, he can't be. I guess. You know what I mean? But the whole thing is that you don't let that dude twist your mind on him. Listen, all we got to do is doing exactly what
Hold on.
all we got to do is doing exactly what you're
Wanna-
doing, Bobby. This is a big,
Yeah.
big thing because this is what counters stupidity like that, bigotry like that. We don't think about. We shouldn't be thinking about like you know what? Watch what he's doing. Like oh, you know what? Cool. This solidifies even more when people really find and really follow him. All they doing, I like it because it tells me who you are. You taking your mask off of me, like, oh, I know who you is now. You feel what I mean? You still follow it, even though he does this crap. Fuck you.
Look, I'd rather you tell me. Yes. Absolutely. Black.
Ronnie, I agree with just about everything you said. That he's gonna run his trial. We know who he is. He's a snake. Yes. The people who voted against him know that. But the position that he's in and the media power that he has, when he says things, it has power and it moves the needle. That is the what I'm afraid of. It's not that what he say because a week from now that tweet is gonna be so far down the line until people gonna have to dig for hours to find it. But it's the small business out there that I walk in and have to get or have to or they looking at me sideways because he can say some shit like that and get away with it. Now they feel empowered to and justified to act a certain way towards me. That's the danger of him tweeting some bullshit like that, where we know it ain't gonna go nowhere, but it's everybody and all the entities that it triggers and it reaches and it empowers. That's the scary part about it. That's where the problem come in. Yeah, he's gonna be gone, hopefully in 3 years. Uh, and most of his rules probably be overturned, or all these executive orders and all that shit. All that's gonna be overturned, and the next president gonna come in and do what he do. But this shit can last 10 or 15 years because of the foundation that he's is
Mm-hmm.
setting. And he's turning the clock back so many years that we fought for. I mean, we only gain inches at a time. We don't gain a foot here and two or three and a yard here. We moving inches at a time. And now it takes us 20 years to move 4 or 5 inches. And he come in 4 years and push us back 3 feet and turn back some of these rules that it was hard as hell for us to get. And now with the Supreme Court in his favor or the Republicans' favor, it's even harder. So that's the stuff that bothers me. Not that I don't know who he is. I've been following this dude since the 80s. I know who he is. And
Yeah.
it's for people, and I do agree with you that it's the people who support this and refuse to accept this. Because we can
Yeah.
approach, and when Bobby mentioned nephew, he's talking about my son.
Mhm.
I have, trust me, I done lost a lot of sleep over going back and forth with my son. And the stuff that people will support, and when you go to them with, oh well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, how can you vote for a person who support this? And then they'll be like, well, I like his immigration policy, or I like the fact that he's pro life. What the fuck do you give a care about pro-life for? Because none of that shit matter. He ain't gonna do shit about that. Ain't nothing. Every GOP president since Reagan has got in office and said they pro-life. Did they change the rules? No, it's still the same shit. So that is one of those. subjects that they always run on, and they can vote for somebody like Donald Trump because he say he pro-life. The hell with everything else that he does or undo, or all the bigotry or all the racist tweets and all the ads he take out talking about kill innocent black people and all of that. The hell with none of that matters as long as he say he's pro-life.
Mhm. So
When I talk to people, I'm just say this real quick. When I talk to Trump supporters, I say, so what you're saying is you, racism isn't a priority for you. You have an order of things of what your priorities are, and racism is just very low for you. Where for me and my family, it has to be high because of who I am and what I believe in, and the way I look. So for you, racism is just not a priority for you. I'm not gonna say and call you racist, but it's just not a priority for you. And since it's not, I mean, it is what it is. Go ahead,
all right,
Ronnie.
real quick. So remember I talked about the system is going to work. If you look about yes, he has a lot of power, he has a lot of say and all this other. But if you look at the rest of the world is against this crap. Look, you can just look at the things that he's doing. Like you got to really pay attention to like the rest of the. It's not just what he the people that he's hitting really is a pretty small number of people, because a lot of the people that supported him are like, whoa, that's not who we voted for. You know what I mean? Even his Republican people are already turning on him. His news networks is turning on him. You know what I mean? Like, so you just got to don't.
It's not for racism. None of it is for
No, no, no,
racism.
no.
Not
Right, because they
yeah.
know who that ain't gonna change. The man is almost 80 years old. That is never gonna get out of his system. Not ever.
Mhm.
Right? He's too old to get that out of his system, because he got way less time ahead than he has behind him. I promise you that. You know what I mean? So the thing for that is like don't get that twisted on like it's a big majority of people, because a lot of people got to start waking up. You feel what I mean? And if you think about it, Harriet Tubman, she left folk because people didn't want to leave. There were people that were slaves again that was cool with that system. So it's not, that's not going to be anything that changes now. The numbers aren't going to be as high as it is the people that's going to try to get free than the people that's going to want to stay and pick some cotton. You're going to always have that. You're going to always have the Uncle Ruckers. You know what I'm saying? That's never going to change. But that is a very small, minute number of people that are saying that is like, we ain't standing in this field no more. We out of here. Does that make sense? Yeah. So
Yeah.
look at the bigger picture of that. Don't lose sleep on your son. Because you got to think like he is who he is, right? How he thinks is how he thinks. Is he learning things? Yeah, there's grown people still learning people. There's billionaire people that are following this clown. Would you think a kid that has no big life experiences understanding any of this, right? Because he hadn't gone through a lot of stuff. He doesn't have the life in him yet. So don't so just continue to do what you're doing. You know what I mean? Talk to your son, and just know that eventually, and hopefully he does. He comes around and say, you know what, Dad, the lesson you taught me 10 years ago is now I understand it. Because a lot of the lessons that my grandmother taught me when I was a kid, now and I'll be 51 this year. Now I'm understanding what she was talking about. You feel what I mean? Like even for myself, and it was like simple things. You know what I mean? Like, damn, you better not ever bring somebody in here lighter than me. I'm like, what? I ain't understand any of that yet. You know what I mean? But now I'm like, oh, oh, oh. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, bing, light bulb time. You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thing that you got to continue to just do. Just continue to continue to feed him the right things. And this kind of stuff for me, the reason I like it is because of what it does. Think about this. If we didn't have all this shit going on, you think us black folk will be together like we ain't going to Target right now? Heck no. Even though they know Target been doing this shit for a long time. You know what I mean? All it's doing is
And
gluing
I
the glue
miss
stuff.
Target.
Yeah, I don't miss fuck Target. But the whole thing
On
is
Miss
No,
Me.
I ain't
but the
been to
whole thing,
Target since the boycott.
yeah,
I used to
yeah.
go in Target like, woo.
Yeah, but guess what's happening? Look at what's happening to them right now. You feel what I mean? So that for me, I like it. Like, yeah, heck yeah,
No,
make us come
I'm
together. Make us
enjoying
come
it.
together even tighter. I love it. Do all the stupid stuff you
So
do. I'm gonna get tighter with my people. I'm cool with it.
you are subscribing to that. That's kind of where
Yep.
Ruben is at with his
Yep.
thinking, which is I voted for it because it will bring us together. I still can't
I ain't vote for the
understand that.
motherfucker. You know
And
what
yeah, yeah, exactly,
I'm saying?
exactly,
that,
exactly. All right,
that
we're
was
gonna
just
start to
dumb.
shut it down. You got anything else to say? You know, Ronnie, as we start to shut it down, we clean our palate because the NBA Finals is on. I want people to get a chance to
Yeah,
watch
the
that and stuff
Phillies
like
is
that.
up 2-1.
Yeah, the Phillies.
That's what I'm
Okay,
Clean,
all
watching.
right, cuz.
clean my
Building a
palate, man.
house.
No, no, you ain't gotta
Uh,
clean your palate. I got something for clean your palate. Just like in general, I'm gonna go to Black next. So just like just the synopsis of today's pod. Thank you again for joining. Thank everybody for watching. Thank Ronald. Thank you for that last thing for the Trump thing because I think it needs to be talked about because we are celebrating us and celebrating our ancestry, and he is trying to stomp on it and. I think lights need to be shed to that because people need to understand when you don't vote, you
Yep.
voted. Again, let me say it again for the people that's watching. When you don't vote, you voted.
1,000%.
It's that simple. It's that simple. So Ronnie got anything before I go to Black?
Yeah, just real quick. Oh, is it clean the palate or we doing still talking about?
No, no. Well, I'm gonna
Okay.
clean the pot. If you got something to clean the
Yeah,
pot, go for it. If you got to clean the pot,
just real fast. Let that let
go
that
ahead.
let that let that show be the show, and we be the audience, and
Mm-hmm.
we can boo or we can clap to it. Now, if you want to boo, boo. If you want to clap, clap. But know what side you sit on and stay over there, because what's happening is it's a lot of people. Like I told y'all before, the system's working. It's just working slower than people realize, right? So, last thing is real quick to clean my palate is. I was in my feelings. My baby just graduated from high school. She's, you know what I mean. She's going to
Mm-hmm.
HBCU. Uh,
Congratulations.
Which
so
which one? Which one? Where's she going? Which
Norfolk
one?
State, Norfolk
All
State.
right.
Yeah,
Which
Virginia.
one? Norfolk
yeah,
State?
Virginia.
yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
So she don't.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. So for me, that's like
Right.
you know what I mean. That's my heart because she's my twin. You know what I'm saying? She looked literally just like me. So watching that grow and turn into the person that she turned into, um, vice all this crap that's happening in the world. She's very aware of it. You know what I mean? She's her own person, and I don't. And here's another thing for you, Black, real quick. Don't try to twist your son into you. Let him come to you naturally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't.
So
I don't.
yeah.
I had to pull away and allow
Yeah.
him the room to grow and become who he is. And as I do, and throughout my entire life, I try to stand on the side of righteousness, and it will come back
Absolutely.
around. So
Facts. That's the
I
system.
don't waver. Yeah, I don't waver from that.
Yeah.
So uh,
Your system's gonna work, Black. I promise you.
yeah, yeah.
Right? Because I
I
got a
truly
brother
believe
like
that.
that. Like,
I
let
have
me
to.
just
I
tell you.
have to believe that my system gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
But Chairman, I appreciate this podcast and doing what you're doing and sharing the whole ancestry and talking about Juneteenth. Again, I believe it's something that we need to celebrate and make it a hell of a lot bigger than what it is. 4th of July,
Right.
I don't even really celebrate it anymore. It's another day to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Juneteenth is more important to me, and because we wasn't free in July 4th, and every year on July 4th, I do listen to Frederick Douglass speech. I listen to it every single July 4th, and I think everybody should because it's very powerful on what July 4th meant, and he gave it on July 4th, I believe, on the House floor, but don't quote me on that part. But it
Okay.
is a great speech that he gave speaking about July 4th. Um, so again, I appreciate it, Ronnie. Again, I hear you when it comes to Donald Trump, and the system is working, but he's causing so much division until how long is it going to take us to come back together? And that is what bothers me or worries me the most. Not that my life is going to change, because I tell people, pretty much everybody in Shipman's circle, we are at at a status where I don't care who president, our life ain't gonna change. It's everybody else that I'm concerned with who depend on certain things and don't have the lifestyle that we can have. That is what I worry the most about, where they may need food stamps or they may need a little help. because they don't lost their job, or they not getting but $12 an hour, $14 an hour, and just need a little help from our government. But you would rather go have spend $65 million on a damn parade, which from what I saw, very few people was there. You just said $6 million a weekend in golf, and giving these tax breaks to the top 1% that don't need it, where the lady at McDonald's is paying a higher percentage in taxes than somebody that's making $280 million and $4 billion
Yeah.
a year. They pay percentage wise, they pay
That's
less,
crazy.
and you want to. This is what you want to continue to do, and that's the only thing I'm concerned about is what happens the years come, because most people don't realize that when a president make laws or change laws, we don't really see it for about 2 years. It's
Hmm.
4 or 5 years down the road when it finally kick in. You be like, where the hell did this shit come from? Why did, in this case, why did Biden do this? Well, Biden didn't do it. Trump did that shit in his first term. It just kicked in now, and now y'all blaming Biden on everything, and it's not Biden. So the next president, so somewhere around 2030, when all this shit that he's trying to pass and put through is takes effect, we're gonna be looking at why the current president doing what he doing, or why did he make this decision when it's really not that. So
Yep.
Yeah,
And
yeah, but the
go
thing
ahead,
is
bro.
like that takes us to educate people because they tell you that in the beginning. They know, we know that. I know for a fact
yes,
this is the shit that he did back when his first term.
exactly.
But we understand that, but we're not messaging that enough to
it
the people
i
that really need to
i
hear it.
I say we are messaging it,
Mm-mm.
but we are the minority, and therefore people don't believe that we know what we talking about. Like, no, that shit ain't true. He blah blah blah. He's like, dude, you don't understand politics, you don't understand civics. Just do some damn
Yes.
research. Goddamn, go ask Chat GPT, they'll tell you hell. But they don't want
Hmm.
to
Pull that
do
phone down.
the work. They want to turn on the TV and listen, or click on YouTube, or click on TikTok and listen to somebody who has no skin in the game, don't have to verify shit, don't have to do anything, just get on and make a video and post it. And this is what the microwave generation believe: 30-second sound bites. That is what we are up against. And somebody who been in the game shit since because in elementary we used to have to watch politics. They put a damn TV in the elementary classroom, and we had to pay attention to what Ronald Reagan was saying on TV and shit. So I've been in politics for a long damn time,
Ronald Reagan.
and to hear some of the shit that these millennials are talking about, it was like, dude, no, you ain't got a fucking clue. You do not know how this shit works. Just pay attention for about 6 years before you start forming
Hmm.
your opinion on politics. So I
Yep.
say all that
100%.
again
You're right.
to say to yes, my son is my son. I'm gonna continue to love him. I'm gonna continue to treat him as and call him as my son. And I know that as long as I walk that righteous line, the truth will prevail. I know that.
100%.
I know that. I
100%.
appreciate the ship. Nice,
No
nice, nice
problem, man.
talk.
No problem. Yeah, nice talk as always. Dawn,
Yeah, I'm gonna be short and sweet
I'm
because the
not-
game is about to come on. Uh,
yeah.
it was nice. I'm gonna try to. I'll be trying to get on here every week, but scheduling. I work today.
Calling.
'Cause I'm a medical biller, so. But I celebrate this day. It means so much more than the fourth. Fourth we off, so I'm good. Um, with Donald Trump, he's gonna be his worst downfall. Just believing that in prayer, and if you read the Bible, things of this is going to happen. But at the end, you seen his parade, it was like 97 people there. The military people, like, I was supposed to be off this weekend, and they marching.
Hmm.
It didn't even make any sense. But well, that's him, and that's the world we live in. But we are like our black people are stronger together. We is falling in line. I'm so proud of us right now with Target, with the Latino people coming out. Where's the black people to help us? Oh, where y'all was at when we needed y'all? Y'all the most racist against us. And we built this country. My ancestors built this country. And now, like, my Latino friend, like, oh, well, you ain't down there. I like, yo, I'm not going down there to do nothing. Y'all don't stand up for us at any time. It's a few, yes. I got a Latino cousins and but it's good. But it's a few. But when we was going through stuff and
Here's
we rallying and we walking and even back in the civil rights time and all of that, no other race, and they was here. Thank God for the what's the movie Sinners. Asians was here, Latino people was here, but they was more accepted than us. So we still fighting that same fight after 400 years. So what I want to say, I'm so proud of y'all as black men standing up, making your word heard, because there's a lot of these young guys like, oh, Trump gonna give us a check. I'm like, okay, do your history, do your social studies, and know who gave you that check. It wasn't him.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to mention, he's gonna he quote unquote gave you a check, but then he's gonna take your ability to make real money by making sure that by taking away education rights,
Yes,
by taking away affirmative action, by taking away your ways of actually upward mobility.
yes,
So yeah, he gave you some pennies today, but your chances of upward mobility have been greatly diminished.
that's right. Cause you
Those are the
know
things we
what
gotta
it
talk
is
about.
when them Latinos for Trump was out there. Now their grandfather getting
Yeah.
deported. Listen, cry
Mm-hmm.
me a river.
Mm-hmm.
They can't
Mm-hmm.
deport us. We is Americans.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yep. All right. With that being said, I'm
Love
gonna
y'all.
close it out with love you too. Love you too, cuz. All right, I'm gonna close it out with our palette, clean our palette for today. And I'm going back to our brother James Sandifer, who was actually inaugurated yesterday in Mississippi, in Lumberton,
Yes, sir.
Mississippi, as the new mayor of Lumberton, Mississippi. I don't know the history of, is he the first black mayor there? No, he hasn't been. Okay. But he's our brother. He's our shipmate, literally and figuratively. And I just wanted to big up him one more time because now he's going to make that community a better place. I think I seen it was 85% voter turnout that he got to be
That's what's
elected.
up.
That's outstanding. That is outstanding in an off year
Yes.
election in May, May June. So it's just outstanding. So just big up to him, and we look forward to seeing you, doing, big, getting that community together and see where you want to go from there. So with that being said, happy Juneteenth,
Happy
everybody.
Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all again for
Fight the
watching. Thank
power.
y'all for liking and subscribing. If you haven't, please do. And we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the game, guys and gals, next week. Enjoy the game. I
Love
love
you too,
y'all.
cuz.
Love you
Peace.
guys. Love you,
All
back.
right.
Later.
Peace.